final battle kind of sucks as the final battle. But why? Maybe you might be thinking, oh, it's war, or oh, it's just good and evil. And those are kind of true. But the main issues with the final battle are Lloyd, Garmadon, and the Overlord. So let's start with Lloyd. So the problem with Lloyd is that outside of Child's Play, he doesn't really get an arc at all. Beyond just, oh, you have to focus for the final battle. Oh, you have to focus to use your golden power, which is fine, I guess, but it's not enough for an arc. Or just any strong emotion at all. Speaking of emotion, ever since the pilot season, emotions have been tied to Spinjitzu, elemental powers, and dragons and all that kind of stuff. But Season 2 doesn't really understand this at all. The ninja go to the Temple of Light and unlock their powers through destiny or whatever. See, the problem with Lloyd is that he just goes to fighting his father, or, well, the Overlord, I guess, because he just does. There's no build up to it. There's no build up to him getting the golden power. There's no struggle with him having to control it beyond like the first few episodes. There's no character development, and that's the issue. There's zero arc around it. They do some tiny things with Garmadon, but it's really not enough. Speaking of Garmadon, let's talk about Garmadon as well. So Garmadon in the season also kind of sucks. He's played for laughs, and he basically is just a vessel for the Overlord to use. And the worst part is that like we get tidbits of it, like, oh, Lloyd can't bring himself to defeat his father. But he does in the finale, but that's not because it's Garmadon. It's because it's the Overlord, and there's no arc around it. Sure, Garmadon kind of becomes good, question mark. He's like, oh, you will not touch my son, or whatever. But there's no build up to that and him becoming good at the end, which is so undeserved and just stupid and only really good in hindsight, or not even good, just acceptable in hindsight, is because of Season 4's great character development for Garmadon and its effects on Lloyd in the future. But it didn't have to be this way. They could have done something, but the writers, they just chose, instead of having a complex battle between Lloyd and Garmadon, they're just like, okay, we're just going to make it about the Overlord. Generic good versus evil story where Lloyd doesn't have to grow as a character, or fuck, he didn't even have to learn to use the golden power that much. And then Garmadon is just there, and their relationship is just not touched on enough and not developed enough to the point where he becomes good again. It's just a thing that happens. It's just so strange. Like, why would you do this? This is literally like the most interesting thing the show has done up to this point, and they just completely just waste it and sour it. It's so unfortunate. But the problem with the Overlord is that he just shouldn't have been in Season 2. Or fuck, if you wanted to do the Destiny thing, you could have had the ninja trying to follow that destiny, and then have Garmadon trying to follow the Overlord's destiny. But there's the problem of Lloyd and Garmadon's bond conflicting with the good versus evil thing. There are so many things you could have done to make this story interesting. You could have had it so neither Lloyd or Garmadon fully embraces their destiny. They overcome it with their love for each other. Or if you wanted the Overlord in this story, you could have had him still possess Garmadon, but then have Lloyd ultimately fight the Overlord because of Garmadon being controlled by him and to free him. But no, we're just gonna have Garmadon quote unquote die, because that's how the show frames it, and then have Lloyd just fight the Overlord and then just do nothing interesting with it. And the worst part, no, not the worst part, but one of the worst parts is that the finale isn't even good. The battle between the Overlord and Lloyd is so stupid. Like I said earlier, the fucking Vor is so dumb. He just Vor's Lloyd and then Lloyd wins, and that's the entire thing. It's like 1 minute. This is supposed to be your final battle, and you just make it like Lloyd get Vored, and that's the victory. No emotion, no good writing, no nothing. You can look at literally any other good season that does this. Season 1, okay, you have the true potential, as the whole Conqueror was holding them back. Okay, that's pretty awesome. You have Cole's arc, which shows him growing and stepping up to that responsibility, and having him believe in himself and his mother's promise to overcome and beat the Skull Sorcerer and learn the Smijitsu Burst. But nope, we're just gonna do nothing interesting at all. Fuck, you could look at the Oni trilogy, which does this so much better. So much better. Look at True Potential, look at Green Destiny. In the end, Lloyd's love for his old father overcomes the Emperor Garmadon, and it's... why did they just not try this season? Come on. You could have done anything interesting. But no. Good versus evil. So, the lesson of this is good versus evil stories, or at least the way season 2 did it, was just not good. It doesn't resolve the characters' arcs. Doesn't provide an interesting story at all. Not even a satisfying one. Nothing satisfying happens in that episode, except for Dareth getting the fucking Helmet of Shadows. That's the only good thing in that episode. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is season 2 is bad, the finale is bad. Very glad Ninjago did not end here, because if so, this would be a fucking terrible show. This would be a bad show, straight up bad. Even if pilots in season 1 were bangers, this is just goodbye.